Hello everyone! Today I'm going to finish up the build exercise for the Haunted Mansion, and I'll also show you how to hook up the logic. There really isn't much logic, so that part should go fairly quick. Also, I don't have any diagrams for today's episode because the logic is so simple, so just be aware of that. There's one thing I forgot to do in the exterior here last time. I forgot to set the properties on this locator. So let me take care of that right now. The door destination tag needs to be set to 3. Okay. So the one that's set to 1 is over at the entrance to Fantasyland. This locator over here is set to 2. This new one needs to be set to 3. So just wanted you to not miss that. But I'm going to go ahead and save my toy box, and I'll meet you inside in just a moment. Okay, last time we made it as far as the conservatory, which I changed into a sitting room because I just couldn't match the look of the conservatory with the building pieces that are available. And I see I did forget one piece. It's kind of the important piece. It's the bone-chilling coffin. We're just going to set that in the middle of the room over here. So when you come around the corner, that's the thing you see. And if you want, you can go into the accent and decor and just add a few plants around that like we had in the conservatory, but I don't really see a need for that since I changed the theme of it. Alright, so there is this room. And next up is the seance room, and that goes right in here. And here's a photo of this room. There's a book on a pedestal in the front of the table with Madame Leota's crystal ball floating above the table. A chair sits behind the table. There's also a grandfather clock at the entrance to this room that's set to 13 o'clock. And from this room, we go to the ballroom balcony and the attic, which is why I used a layout that had a staircase for this room. So as we get started in here, let me pull up my screenshot here for this room, and I think we'll begin with the windows. Not that we're using the windows, but we have these royal red drapes, and I kind of like this as a backdrop for Madame Leota's seance table. So we'll put one here. Oops, I guess we got to move it over just a little bit. We'll put another one over here. Okay. And then we'll scroll down to... while we're right here, let's do these wall sconces. And once again, you can see that it doesn't let you go into that corner or up into that room at all. So the only furniture we can put in here is down at this lower level, which again is unfortunate. And just trying to find a halfway point. There we go. That's what I want. Put another one over here on this wall. Couple of them like that. And then over here, just to kind of make this interesting, we're going to post or place a few of these going up the wall here. So I have no idea what that's hitting. All right. Oops. And of course, it's hard to select things in here, but I kind of want to move this wall sconce a little bit so it kind of looks like it's going up the staircase. I think that one at the top's got to come down just a little bit. There we go. So you have some candles going up the staircase, because this is a pretty large room. All right. Electronics and appliances. I can't remember if there's anything else under here, so let me just check really quick. I don't believe there is. I think the other pieces I want are under accents and decor, but I just wanted to verify. Half the time you spend just looking for the things you need in the toy box because it isn't real obvious. One thing I do want is this candelabra. We're going to place this back over here like that. All right. Before we get to the seating and beds, let's do the table. So Madame Leota's table. Okay, so yeah, the face is over here, so we got to make it sit like this. And I want to try to put it... This camera is so frustrating. I think that's probably where we want it. We want it out. Try to, out a little ways so we have room for the chair back there. And we kind of want it centered if we can with the drapes. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, see, it's a little too far to the left there. All right. So now that that is there, let's do the seating first, because that'll kind of determine where the other decorations go. All right, so we'll put one behind here, like that. We'll put one on this side of the table, like that, and one on the other side of the table. And you try to do the best you can with that goofy camera. So like that. And under rugs, we have this ornate, round ornate rug, which I kind of like. So I'll drop that underneath the table. And then for the book, the closest thing we have that matches that, if you go under accent and decor, and I think going right will get us there quickest. But we have the, I think it's the Book of Vishanti. It's not sitting on a pedestal, but it's open and it's floating there and it's in the right position. See, this one is closed. I kind of like the open book. We do have Dipper's book, but that's not quite the same. And that looks a little more cartoony, so I like doing this one instead. And I like to put this off to the side a little bit versus right in front of the table, because when you come in the room, you don't want all the decorations stacked right up. It's a little different with the ride in Disneyland, but here you definitely want those spaced out a little bit. And I had some other decorations in here too, so let's just scroll through the list. Rapunzel's mirror. I had this sitting in the corner over here. And here's our grandfather clock. I had that sitting on the wall over here. And now that we've got the mirror in there, we can move this candelabra. And they're not sitting right on top of each other. Okay, under wall hangings. Let's see, is that this direction? Yeah, here we go. We're going to go to the right. Because the walls are a little bit bland. so we're going to use the deadly wall decor. We're going to put this right between those candelabras like that. And did I already pass the mirror? I think I did. Finding what you need is always such a challenge, because there's so many things in here. You can even do the puppy dog thing if you want, for something a little bit different. I had the ghost mirror here, but that's actually not bad. I don't think I'll put that there instead, just to mix things up a little bit. And that's it for the seance room. And that looks pretty good. So you got some things over there. I like the puppy dog. Don't want to use that mirror everywhere in the mansion. And it's unfortunately has to stay empty up here, because even though I'm up here... Oh, hey! Oh no, jumps me back over here. I thought maybe I was onto something. Alright, so we're up here. Oh, hey, there we go. It will let us put some things up here. How about that? Ah! I always fight with this editor up here. This is just crazy. Hey, there we go. Unlike the other room, I can actually put something up here. Well, that's kind of nice. I can't do a lot, because it won't let me put wall hangings up here, as you saw, but we can at least put a little bit of something up here. Okay, and then we come into here, and this is the attic and the entrance to the ballroom. Now, you can't get in here, excuse me, unless you have a sidekick. So we need to have a sidekick. Let me just pull up one. It doesn't really matter who, but you need a sidekick in order to unlock this door. And you only have to do this once. Once you do, that door is gone, and now you can enter into this room. And here's our ballroom. And here's a picture of the ballroom, by the way, where the ghosts spin and dance to the music that's played by the ghostly organist. And again, the best match that we have for this room is this one. So I really like that. And the fact that it's got this little bonus game built in is a plus, because it gives you something else to do in this toy box besides just walk through it and look at the scenery. But now that we've placed that room and we've unlocked it, we don't need our sidekick anymore. So let's go ahead and take her out. All right. Now for this room, I don't really have any pictures of it from the Haunted Mansion, so I filled it in based on how I thought an attic might look. So as we get started here, we'll begin with our seating, and I think the covered furniture is the best thing to use here once again. And that's the entrance, so yeah, this is the door to the next room. So we'll place one of these here. We'll try to place one directly across from it as best we can. We'll place the sofa in the middle as best we can. May not be perfect, but under electronics and appliances, we have these covered lights. So we'll place one on either side of that. that sofa. Again, you want to try to get these centered as best you can. I can see that sofa already is not centered, not even close. And it might help to put the windows on the wall first. Alright, so under the windows category, we have the dreary view window, and I want to place two of these here. So we'll place one about that far from that corner. Try to imitate that over here. That's about the best we can do. And so now if we look at the sofa, that's pretty well centered. So that looks pretty good. And then because it's kind of boring in the middle of the floor, we'll put the rug in here again. And that at least fills up the room and gives you something to look at. And I don't think there'd be any candelabras on the walls in this room because it is an attic, so. All right, the next room is for the graveyard. And here's a screenshot of that. It's an outdoor setting that's recreated in an enclosed room. So there are plants and what looks like a sky. There's a ghost band that's playing and ghosts are dancing and flying about. We'll add the ghosts a bit later when we do the logic. But let's start by formatting or theming this room because it is different than all of the others. So for this one, we're going to use the vintage walls. I'll apply that. Make sure you just apply, don't theme all. That's about the dingiest look that we can do. Some of the others, like Olaf's Summertime, is just way too bright. It's just not going to work. Okay, for the light fixture, we're going to change the light fixture in this one, and I'm actually going to use the Halloween Town chandelier. And I'll apply that. Just, I like the spider web, I like the greenery, just helps reinforce an outdoor theme. For the floor, we're going to use Aurora's Cottage Floor. Okay. And then for the trim, we'll use the Haunted Mansion accent, which we've already got. So we'll just leave that the same. Alright, so there is the framework, and now we got to make this look like an outdoor space. And to do that, we're going to fill this up with plants, and you'll find those under the accent and decor category. So let's go back over to the right. I think maybe this might be the fastest way to get there. I could be wrong. There's so much stuff in this drawer. Alright, Sleeping Beauty tree. We'll start with that. That's just a very nice natural look. And I think it will fit in here perfectly. So we'll put one of these in this corner, as close as we can get it. And I don't think we can get any further in there. The Sleeping Beauty corner tree, we'll stick that right in that corner there. And already it's starting to look a little bit more organic. We've got a bunch of little potted plants here. And we also have these tall seagrass plants, which will look good, as well as this summer breeze tree. And I think between the two of those, we should be able to fill this in and have it look fairly decent. Okay, so we'll put one of those there like that. And on the other side of the room, let's see, put this in the corner like that. Put another one over here like this. I kind of want this sticking out past that corner. Put another one over here, and I'm putting these in first because you can fit stuff underneath them there on the lower right. And so if you place this in here first, then you've got room to fit in some smaller things. All right, so over here, off the corner of this, again, we want to kind of have the trees going into the room here a little bit. This one we'll put in this back corner. Finding a spot that will work. There we go. It can be a little tricky. So like that. And so something like that. And this may not be exactly like I had this before, but you get the idea. At this point, we're just going to fill in as much of this as we can. With plants. Let's see, let's go back around this direction. Then I can back up on my screenshots and go the other way. And it's good to rotate these things again so that it's not too repetitive. So when we put another one in this corner, we'll rotate it. So like that. We don't want to do too many of these though, so don't go too crazy with them. If we could put one back in here. So like that. Along this wall. And maybe another one back over here. So already this is starting to look kind of outdoorsy, which I like. And those are the two big plants that we have. This one is a little too rigid. It's not very natural looking. The color in this one doesn't really fit the theme we're going for. None of the fish tank things here really do. This one could work though. I kind of like the spookiness of that. So if we put this one over here, I really like the look of that. The Cinderella Castle Fern can sit right up against here. That has kind of a ghostly look to it, which is nice. And then we'll just put in some smaller plants here. Just fit these around the room. As you can see, you can fit that right underneath that branch up there. So that's really good. And you want to rotate these so it's not too repetitive. And you can mix these up and put some other little plants around the room. Anything you can do to fill in the space is a good thing. And I think, yeah, I'm going to have to look for that. There's a couple of urns that I want to put over here, but I don't want to go hunting for those right now. Since we're right here with these plants, we'll just kind of stick with this little section of the drawer and fill these in. One there. Put one over here. Stick one there. You can even use this one if you want. Just to kind of mix it up a little bit. So that's looking pretty good. All right, let's scroll to the right, and I want to see if I can find those other two things that I need. Here we go. Here's one of them. The ghostly green pot. We're going to put one on either side of that fern. So like that. And then there's also the big bird. And I know I saw that somewhere earlier. It's a matter of finding it, though. Here it is. Maleficent Stone Raven. I do remember seeing one of these in the conservatory, but we're going to put one on either side of the door here like this. Okay. And there we go. Probably stick another plant here, and you can go nuts and put as many plants as you can in here, but leave some room for the ghosts. We got to have room for them. And those are spaced pretty good, apart from the door and apart from the wall. So I like that. All right, next up is the Hitchhiking Ghosts hallway. And here's a screenshot of that. There are mirrors along one wall, and as your carriage glides past them, you see yourselves and a ghost who's riding along with you. And this leads to the final room where you disembark and exit the attraction. So let's go ahead and add those mirrors in. And we find those, once again, in the wall hangings category. And I think, I can't remember which way we go. Let's go left. Invariably, I almost always pick the direction to scroll that's going to take the longest to get there, but here we go. All right, so pick a wall. We'll go on this side of it. And we're going to see if we can fit 3 of these across here. Like that. And so now as you come through, normally the ride would shift the carriage around, and as you glide past, you see the ghost in your carriage. I guess I should lower those down to eye level, shouldn't I? But as you're walking through the toy box, they don't become visible unless you curve the camera over and look at them. So let's drop these mirrors down. Put these at eye level. I think that's going to work much better. Yeah, that looks much better. All right, and then we come to the room where we disembark. And I changed the orientation of this room on purpose because I wanted to have this feel a little bit more like you're coming off of the ride. So let's start with this seating. And the Emperor's Chair is what we're using for our carriage. So we'll kind of put that right here, like you're coming off of the carriages. And we'll put it out of the way of the doorway there a little bit. So a couple of carriages there, like you're getting off. So you'll disembark on the right side as you're facing that direction. I always struggle with this camera. Okay, go over to the left and let's go ahead and put some additional pieces of furniture in here. I'm going to just use a couple of chairs. And we'll set this up a little bit like I had it originally. So a couple of chairs there. And then under electronics and appliances, we want our candelabras. So we're going to place one back here to the right of that chair and to the left of that chair. And put one on either side of this doorway. I'll put one over here, and I'm going to retheme this room in a moment. Yeah, let's put that there like that. And we're going to put one on either of these walls. Those are actually up a little high. You can probably lower those a little bit. All right. Next up, under tables. Accent and decor. Actually, there's something we want under here as well. Because this room is a little bit empty in here on the left. So I'm going to stick a piano back here. We'll put our grand piano back over here. Tuck it in that corner. And under tables and cabinets, we have our rabbit hole end table again. We'll use that right here. Kind of want that a little more than halfway in between them, but oh well, that'll work. I can move this chair on the left of it. Some of this is just tweaking, as you can tell. Yeah, it's a little bit better. And then we need a wall hanging. And if we go to the right, again, past all of these, we're going to stick a painting up on the wall between those two sconces above that end table. And can't remember exactly where I had this. I think that's where it is. Okay, and there's that room. Let's go ahead and theme this. And I'm going to change the wall to be Beast's Castle walls. I'll apply that. That just ties it back in with the room at the start of the mansion to let you know you've kind of reached the end. We'll leave the floor the same though. All right, and that is it for the decorating. Now, before we leave, we need to put our locator in here for the hitchhiking ghost. So let's go to the Creativitoys. And these get to be tricky, because when you go to place the locator, it gives you the controls to rotate the locator, but it doesn't actually let you rotate the locator. And as you can see, the blue dots, when you first put it down, it's going to be facing where the player was. And I was standing over there, so that's where that goes. So I can't really change this. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to place that locator right there, so it's facing the player. So the hitchhiking ghost, when we enter the room, is going to be standing right over here. All right, and let's go ahead and place the locators first. Now, a lot of the rest of the locators we need here. And once again, it's going to have them facing Jack. So we're going to put Jack over on this side of the room. And reset the drawer on me here. So I got to go back to the right, pick up the locators. Normally I would put these out here ahead of time, but I want you to see how to get around this bug because it's kind of frustrating. So for this, we're going to place 2 locators along this wall for the ghosts. You can see which way the blue dot is facing, and again, I can't rotate that. We're going to place a locator over here for Jack Skellington and another one for Sally. All right, and then we have to be a different direction. So let's face in that direction. See if we can get the locators show up over there. Yeah. So then we're going to put one on either side over here, like that. And if we swing the camera that way, hopefully the blue dot, yep, is facing toward Jack. And we'll try to put these kind of across from the other 2. But again, it's going to be hard to get that correct. It doesn't have to be exact. And then our last 2 locators we're going to place over here. So we'll put one there and one there. So you should have a total of 10 locators. We got 4 on that end of the room. Stop helping me. And we got 6 on that end of the room. All right, and we need one more locator at the front of the front door. But before we do that, let's put our trigger areas in here. And I'm going to place one over here that's going to be junk. And I'm going to place another one over here. This is the one that's actually going to be usable. And let's resize this so it's a little bit closer to that door frame. And I say usable because you can see I can select this one. Oh, and it will let me select this. Sometimes it will not let you select the first one you put down. So I'm going to place 2 in each room. The first one is going to be the one that I'm not going to use. We can delete that later. The second one will be the actual one that we'll use. This is the way you get around that bug, and I think I've showed this to you in other toy boxes that I've set up. Okay, so this one will be junk. This one will be the one we'll actually use. We're going to place this right in front of the door leading to the gardens. And again, we'll resize this so it's closer to that doorway, because we don't want the ghosts out in the graveyard to appear till we go through that door. All right, and then we got one more locator we got to place, and that's back in the foyer. And unfortunately, you have to run all the way back there because it will not let you place objects in a room that you're not physically in. Which is another silly limitation. Alright, so the locator we need is going to be right up the front door. So we want to stand about here. And we want to scroll over and pick up that locator. And the little blue dot is facing the player. So we're going to put the locator about like this. And it's right off the entrance of that door. So it'll look like the player has entered that door. And we want to set the properties on this locator so that the door destination tag is 1. This is where the player will appear when they come through the toy box door in Frontierland. Alright, and then I've already placed some Creativitoys out over here ahead of time. So I've placed a button, I've placed a level starter, and I've placed 3 friendly wave generators. Okay. The first friendly wave generator, to save time, I've already configured the wave. So we have the Knight costume, Hades, the Monstrous Citizen, Jack Skellington, and Chernabog. And while we're right here, let's go ahead and set the properties on this. This is half the ghosts that will be in the graveyard. All the properties are fine here except the generation delay. We set that to 0. And under the generated friend options for the behavior on this one, we're going to set these guys to dance. For the second friendly wave generator, I've configured the wave on this one to use Sally, the prisoner hitchhiking ghost, the skeleton hitchhiking ghost, Ghost Rider, and the Wraith. And we'll set the properties on this generation delay to 0. For the generated friend options on this one, we're going to set this one to be jump up. So not all of these guys will be doing the exact same thing. And then on the final one, this is for the hitchhiking ghost. And on the properties for this, generation delay to 0. And I'm going to set the friend option specifically to be wander, which will hopefully help him stay in that room, although he may wander around. Okay, so on the hitchhiking ghost, we're going to do a new locator connection. We're going to put him up here at this locator. On our first friendly wave generator. Now the order in which you connect the locators is the order in which these guys in here are going to be placed. Okay, so the first locator we connect is where the knight's going to go. And so it's kind of important, if you want these in specific locations, to connect them to specific places up here in this room. And so for the first one, pull up my little thing here. I'm going to put the knight over here at this locator. This is where I had him in my toy box. Doesn't really matter, but if you want to recreate this exactly as I have it, you'll want to kind of follow suit. The next one is going to be this locator. That's going to be number 2. The third locator will be this one. And we're not going to go all the way around the room in order, just so you know. Locator number 4, this is for Jack. So for this one, we're going to come over and place him right here. I'm going to want to put Sally next to him. She's on the other friendly wave generator. And the last one, this will be number 5. I had him here originally, but I think we're going to put him over here. Just to kind of mix it up, because you don't want all the guys on the same side of the room doing the same thing. We've got half of them dancing, half of them jumping. All right, first locator, and this one was for Sally. So she needs to go right here. The next one is for the prisoner ghost. New locator connection. This is number 7. We're going to put that one right here. New locator connection. We'll put the other ghost on the other side of the door. So right there. New locator connection. Number 9, we're going to put over, let's see which one, this one. And then we only have one left. And that's this one right here. Okay, so every locator now should be hooked up. You can kind of verify that. There's a connecting line to each of those. All right, so when we enter this trigger area, we're going to do a new logic connection. When entered by player any, we're going to generate the first 2 waves here. So that one and new logic connection when entered by player any. Generate that wave. That will put all the ghosts in the graveyard. This trigger area, new logic connection when entered by player any. That's going to generate the hitchhiking ghost. Now when we go through here, we're going to place the toy box door exit over here. So when we go to exit the toy box, we're going to be running through these trigger areas. So we're going to want to save the toy box before we do that. We're also going to probably want to test that. So I've got a button in here that we can use to remove these guys. So after we test, we can run back to this room and defeat those waves. That will take all of the townspeople out. Okay. And we'll test those in a minute. And now we can go ahead and remove these trigger areas. Be careful not to delete the room. Now see, this one, it will not let me select this now. So the only way to get out, we'll have to get out of the editor here, which puts us back in the foyer. And we're going to have to run back over to that room. Jack runs kind of slow. I guess I should have picked a different figure. Or leveled him up a little bit to pick up his running speed. But I thought Ghost Jack would be a perfect character to use for our Haunted Mansion here. I've got his power disc down, which gives him his cursed form from the first Pirates movie. And having Jack Sparrow in his cursed form kind of transitions us to the next episode in this series, which will be Pirates of the Caribbean. Alright, so we're going to select the magic wand. And even though you can't select this with spark mode, you can with the magic wand. So we can delete that trigger area with that. And then we'll remove the wand. Alright, since we're here, let's go ahead and test out the trigger area. So that puts all the ghosts in here. Some of them are jumping, some of them are dancing. And then running through this trigger area puts him in there. Alright, since we're in this room, let's go ahead and put the toy box door in, because I forgot to do that earlier. This is going to take us back to Frontierland. I hope that little guy doesn't wander into the place where I'm trying to put the door. Alright, the toy box door is going to go right over here. Oh, he's playing the piano. How nice. Alright, so we'll set the theme on this. I'm going to use the red for the door. And we'll set the properties through the logic menu. And the destination is set to level 1, so this is going to be a problem. But you're going to want to link to an existing toy box. Oh, we can set it to Frontierland. Well, good. Destination locator tag is going to be 3. That's the locator we set earlier, and we'll leave that set to true. So very nice. So now we have a way to get back. And I don't know where our townsperson went. But that's okay. Alright, so we're just about done. We have one more thing I want to do. So we'll head back to our starting room. Actually, there's 2 more things we need to do. And we're almost done. How are we doing on time? Oh my goodness. This will be a long video today. Probably should have split this up into 2. Okay, so we're going to come into this room. First thing I want to do here is push the button and take those townspeople out. Okay, next thing I want to do is the mansion's kind of bright, so let's dim it. And to do that, we're going to go into the wall hangings category. And if we go back over to the left, sometimes it resets these drawers on you. Sometimes it leaves it where you were. There's no way to predict what it's going to do. Wish it would do one or the other. But we have this interior light switch. We're going to set this right here. And you can flip this manually. But what we're going to do is use the level starter to flip it for us, because we're not going to be able to get to this room in a moment. So we're on the level starter. We'll do a new logic connection on catalyze. We're going to come over to our light switch and turn off the lights. Okay. And just so you can see what that looks like. It's kind of weird how... There we go. And that dims the lights in the mansion. So that's what it will look like when the level starter goes off. And we're done in this room now. We'll come over here. Get out of that room because we're going to delete that little connecting hallway. And then exit spark mode. And now here we are. We're in the Haunted Mansion, and there's no way to get over to the Creativitoys, so those are all hidden. So the last thing we do is save our toy box, and then we can exit the toy box. And that's it for the Haunted Mansion. Next week we'll return to my Kingdom Hearts series and continue working on the logic for the world of Disney Castle. I'll come back to Disneyland in January and continue working on the next toy box, which will be Pirates of the Caribbean. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment before you go to let me know what you think of this build now that it's done. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you like Disney Infinity and my toy box designs, just click my photo in the lower right corner of this video. Have a great weekend.